G, come hop on, hang out. I'm making the infamous yogurt parfait, and I figured while I had the moment to do this, I would jump on. I've been getting some questions from some of our members in the program lately about ye old intermittent fasting. So I figured I'd answer some popular questions that I get about intermittent fasting, the style of dieting, as it's gained popularity over the years. And to help kind of alleviate a lot of questions that there might be regarding intermittent fasting, whether it might be a strategy or a diet protocol worth trying if you're considering making some healthy lifestyle changes. And I figured I'd do all that while making breakfast this morning. So here we are. Pop in. Feel free to type questions related to intermittent fasting down below. And we'll kind of just run through my thoughts on the matter, because I am actually personally, I'm a big fan of intermittent fasting. It's a strategy that I've used over the years. In fact, pre-pandemic, there was a period of time where I would run a few online intermittent fasting challenges, which was part course, part practical application of intermittent fasting to give people the experience of what it was like and to give them the accurate information they needed to truly understand if this was something worth trying for them. And I haven't done it now in a while just because I myself have gotten a little bit, I wouldn't say my stance on intermittent fasting has changed, but definitely gotten how I implement it in my life has changed. And I'll explain that here in a moment. But the thing to understand first and foremost about intermittent fasting is that it is not magic. It is not going to immediately be the answer to all of your weight loss problems. It's not going to drastically make a difference given that you're still being active and still eating a relatively healthy diet. It's not going to be inherently better unless the application of that is a strategy that works for your life. So here's what I mean by that. There's no magic weight loss component of intermittent fasting. But what fasting is a tool that can help you better control your calorie intake by shortening the amount of time that you have to eat all of your meals. And so for those of us who might be unfamiliar, intermittent fasting is essentially a diet protocol or a diet strategy whereby you limit yourself to eating within a certain period of time throughout the day, and then you're essentially going without food the remainder of the day. And this could take a lot of different approaches. There could be a lot of different ways to structure this, but the most common, by and large, the most common intermittent fasting strategy is a 16-8, which is essentially you're fasting for 16 hours, you're not eating for 16 hours, including the amount of time you spend sleeping. And then within an 8-hour eating window, you're consuming your calories for the day. Typically what this would look like under most circumstances, most people will probably approach this with an eating window between noon and 8 or 1 p.m. and 9 p.m. So those 8 hours is when you're eating your meals, which often equates to 2 meals and a snack if you're doing it normally. Some people prefer just one large meal. That part is totally preferential. And then the remainder of the time from 8 or 9 p.m. onwards as you sleep, and then into the morning, basically until lunchtime, you're not consuming any calories. And really the strength of this approach and why it works so well is essentially if you're limiting yourself to eating within a smaller period of time, that provides less opportunities to overeat for your goals on that particular day, essentially. And now, of course, there's some other benefits to this as well. Most people find that they don't have an appetite in the morning. And really the reason this is our bodies secrete a hormone called ghrelin, which is the hunger hormone. It's responsible for stimulating our appetite and making us feel hungry. Now, why these fasting protocols, especially something like a 16-8, doesn't start until the afternoon is basically to piggyback off of an effect whereby the secretion of that hunger hormone actually gets reduced in the evening as you go to sleep so that you don't wake up hungry all the time. Now, the stimulation and production of this hormone doesn't really kick up again until you consume something first thing in the morning. This is why the earlier you eat, you tend to have a larger appetite the rest of the day. But oftentimes people find that as soon as they wake up, they don't really have much of an appetite. Like, this isn't true for everyone, but by and large, a lot of people find that they can kind of just skip breakfast with no issue. And then by eating later in the day, that point is when you really start to secrete more of the ghrelin hormone. But by then, of course, it's going to be blunted because it's had less time to be secreted. So your appetite is generally going to be a little bit lower, which is actually one of the benefits I find of intermittent fasting is better control over cravings, or rather the elimination of a lot of cravings, because you're just regulating your appetite a little bit better. So this is why, by and large, a lot of people choose to fast through the morning and start eating in the afternoon, shortening their eating window to better control their calories. Again, everything that we discuss when we talk about intermittent fasting is ultimately going to come back to controlling our calories so that we can see the weight loss that we want to see. Because that's ultimately the benefit fasting is. It's just a strategy to better control our calories. Okay? So, by shortening the eating window, you're going to have less opportunity to potentially overeat, where it might be easier if you're eating or snacking throughout the day for those calories to accumulate. Not only that, but better control of your cravings and your appetite, because you're going a large portion of the morning with that reduced appetite. Even once you begin eating for your first meal, once you've started your eating window, your appetite for the remainder of that day, most people find, and I know this is true for me, that in general, their appetite is lower. So a lot of people think with fasting, oh, you've gone 16 hours without eating, you must be starving by the time it's noon or 1 o'clock. But the reality is that's not the case. Once you get accustomed to it, once you get used to it, the first couple of days, you gotta kind of adjust. But oftentimes I would find that I would have to almost remind myself to eat because I just wouldn't be that hungry. And so when I finally did eat, it wasn't this large, gigantic meal. It was really just a normal sized meal. And then I felt satisfied, and that was cool. And so that reduction in the appetite, the reduction in the cravings, which I'll get more into in a second, allowed me to better control my calories. And it allows individuals who follow this and that it works for them to better control their calories to get those better results. They don't find they struggle with the same hunger levels in general, because that will just kind of carry through. Now, the other thing with cravings that I'll mention is, since I was regularly intermittent fasting, I have not experienced like a craving for a food since I got serious into this. And again, I don't really do it I don't do it systematically anymore. There was a period of about 2 years where I did, and I'll get more into how I structured it in my life in a moment. But since regularly embracing intermittent fasting many years ago, I have not been sitting on the couch and been just craving a specific food. And for me, I actually really enjoy that, because for me, that's given me more control over my diet in general, because I can still eat things and enjoy it. Like if I want pizza, if I want a good bowl of ice cream, if I want to go out and get like something that's a little bit more indulgent, I still can, and I can easily work it into my food plan. But I'm not driven by this insatiable desire for it that might throw me off of my plan because I haven't planned accordingly, right? I'm not impulsively driven to eat these things by this craving. And so that has been one of the biggest benefits of fasting that I've experienced, is just the complete elimination of those types of impulsive cravings for things. And I can't really explain why that is, other than one of the other benefits of fasting, which is it can go either way, but by and large, it can help improve your relationship with food and your relationship with hunger. So a lot of us go through life, and especially in our society where food is just accessible everywhere, and we eat for so many reasons other than being genuinely hungry, right? We eat for emotion, we eat for connection, we eat for relationship building, we eat for out of stress, we eat out of happiness, we eat to sell it. Like, it's just, we eat for everything. And so with the fasting, what that's done for me is improving my relationship with hunger, in that when you get accustomed to going large periods of time without eating, and your appetite adjusts, and your cravings diminish, and you're experiencing all of these benefits, yeah, there are times when you might be hungry. But as you get into this practice and you're consistent with it, you begin to realize hunger is seldom an emergency. We can be hungry and we can acknowledge being hungry, but that doesn't mean we have to do something about it right away. And this has been really helpful. So one of the times I still do fast is when I'm traveling, Because airport food is not great, both from a health perspective and a quality perspective. It's also not cheap. It's very expensive, overly priced. And so oftentimes I find it easier to just not eat when I'm in an airport and when I'm traveling in transit somewhere. And so the ability to be able to go long periods of time without eating is helpful, because even if I get hungry in these environments, I'm not scrambling to choose the closest thing to me, which in this case is like a candy bar or some sort of sugary beverage or something that's not going to agree with the health goals I may have. And so it allows me to just recognize that I'm hungry and then ignore it and go about my business, traveling, working, hanging out with friends, whatever the case is. And that then leads back to better control of diet choices and the reduction in cravings. Because when you can recognize that hunger is not an emergency, and when you're not having the same level of cravings for things, that is when you step into a position to be able to fully control what you're consuming. And if you're in an environment where there aren't any healthy choices and you're not making the conscious decision to indulge in these treats, it's not something you've planned for, nor something you really want to do in that moment, then this allows you to just be like, you know what? I know I'm hungry, but I can wait. So I'm going to do whatever I'm doing. When I get home or when I get to a different place or whatever, where the options are better, then I'll eat something. But I don't need to do that right now. And this is one of the ways I still implement intermittent fasting, even though I don't strictly stick to a schedule. So it can improve your relationship with hunger, it can diminish cravings, and it can make it easier to control your calories. I will make one caveat though. If you are someone who has a history or struggles with sort of disordered eating behavior, in that case then intermittent fasting or going prolonged periods of time without eating and then pushing your calories into a smaller window, probably not the best choice. So this is something, I'll raise that caveat. That is something to keep in mind. If you have ever struggled with disordered eating patterns, then I would second guess implementing an intermittent fasting strategy. Okay? Because it can very easily tip the scales back into those sorts of eating patterns. So, with that being said, of course, weight loss or fasting has no inherent weight loss benefit. Fasting can help diminish cravings, it can help better control your calories, and it can give you a better relationship with hunger to recognize that it's not an emergency. All that's fantastic. Now, Alex, do you have to fast every single day? Okay. Now, one of the things I mentioned earlier is that most people, and it's, in my opinion, better to start your eating window later in the day to piggyback the effect of your hunger hormone being suppressed as you sleep. That carries benefits into the morning, reduction of appetite, and then you start eating midday. But what if you work out early in the morning and you're not the type of person that likes to work out fasted, which is totally fair? In that case, then, what I would recommend is you can do an earlier eating window. You can start eating in the morning and end in the afternoon. That works. I've done it. The one thing you might experience is you get a little bit hungry before you go to bed because now you've had 6 hours or so of being awake before you have to go to sleep. And if you find that that bothers you, then you may want to rethink that strategy. In that case, then you may not want to do the fasting. But the other thing is to get these psychological benefits, which is really where the maximum amount of benefits from fasting come from, in my opinion, is all of those psychological benefits we've already talked about. Is you don't need to follow a fasting plan every single day to still get those benefits. So here's what I mean. When I was regularly and diligently following a fasting plan, a 16-8 plan, I'd eat from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. and fast the other 16 hours. I only did that 2 days a week. And it was the 2 days that I was not going to the gym. Okay, so my typical lifting schedule, I'm here now, it's 10:45 in the morning, Eastern time, and I'm making breakfast. After I eat this, I'm going to go to the gym. So I tend to work out late morning. Sometimes if the schedule calls for it, I get up super early and I go first thing. But on these days, I wouldn't want to fast because I don't like to work out fasted. So I wouldn't want to fast and then go work out because I wouldn't have the same level of energy. I wouldn't feel like I was able to put the same amount into that workout. So instead, on the 5 days that I go to the gym, I just wouldn't follow a fasting protocol. I would eat normally. I'd have breakfast, I'd work out, I'd have lunch, I'd work more in the afternoon, and then I'd have dinner, call it a day. But those 2 days that I didn't go to the gym, where my workout schedule was a little more flexible because I would still run on those days, but I could do that later. In that case, then, those are the days I could fast. So I would only fast the morning of the days I didn't go to the gym. But I still got all of these same benefits. It improved my relationship with hunger. It diminished my cravings. It allowed me to better control my calories on those days. It allowed me to make better decisions in social situations around my eating. I didn't feel compelled to have to eat things just because they were there. So if you're someone who's interested in getting some of these benefits from fasting, and you're not someone who has struggled with disordered eating patterns, and also another caveat, you're not someone who has a medical condition that this would not be good for. For example, if you're a diabetic, fasting is probably not going to be a good decision for you. Obviously, always consult a medical professional. If you have a medical condition that might be concerning for an eating plan like this, always consult a medical professional. But someone with a medical condition might deter you from wanting to try this. Outside of that, though, if this is something you're interested in, but you feel the pressure of having to try to implement it every single day, you don't have to. You can just do it a few days a week and still get all of the benefits as long as you're consistently doing it over a period of time. If you fast one day, probably not going to be a big difference, especially if you're not used to doing it. But if you can at least do it, I would say at least twice a week, and you do that over the span of a few months, now you're going to start to develop some of these benefits, okay? Which is going to be very, very important. So you don't have to do it every day. You can start eating in the morning and fast in the evening, but it's easier to fast in the morning and eat in the afternoon. Something else I'll say about this and how I still use fasting. So I don't consistently fast anymore. I probably still end up doing it once or twice a week just because that's what I'm used to on those days I don't go to the gym. But here's how I do still use it. I alluded to one point earlier, which is when I travel. When I travel, I will still utilize this strategy to help control my calories. So if I know I'm not going to be somewhere where there's healthy options, or I don't even know what options are going to be around, if I'm traveling to a different country and I just don't even know what's going to be available, fasting then allows me to have the most amount of calories to be able to spend so that I can stay within my goals for the day. So I can keep my weight stable, so I can keep making progress towards whatever I'm working on. It gives me the power of flexibility and leniency in my choices because I have more wiggle room to work with. Probably the more consistent way that I still use my fasting is for social events. So if, again, it's all about staying within our calorie goal for the day. So if I have a social event in the evening, and I know that, then often what I'll do is I'll fast in the morning, and then when it comes time for my first meal, I'll go protein heavy. Like I'll try to get as much or most of my protein as I can before I even get to the social event, given that it's a nighttime social event, so that when I go to the social event, not only have I had most of my protein, so I don't have to worry about that anymore, it opens up my choices, but also I have the most amount of calories that I can spend, so I'm not going into the social event trying to eat a lot, but I can also go into the social event without worrying about eating too much. Because now I've done the due diligence and I've set up and structured my day of eating to maximize the chances that I can enjoy myself without detriment to my goals. So those are the two ways that I still implement fasting: when I travel and to navigate social events. And those are the two ways that I still find it amazingly beneficial and really helpful for me to still balance meeting my nutrition goals and living and enjoying my life. Because I want to be able to do that too. And I know you want to be able to do that too. We don't want to be confined to Tupperware containers and healthy meal choices and weird menu substitutions at the restaurants. Sometimes it's called for, but we also want to be able to enjoy the good stuff. Order the things that we actually want. So, fasting is not magic. Fasting is not always recommended. Again, disordered eating patterns or certain medical conditions, probably not the best choice. But if you want to experience the psychological benefits of a reduction in appetite and cravings, of a better relationship with food and hunger, and maximum flexibility in your food choices during social events, when you're traveling, during the holidays, then intermittent fasting could potentially be a good strategy to help better control your calories so that you can get better results while still enjoying your life. Okay? So if you're curious to learn more about intermittent fasting, feel free to shoot me a DM, shoot me a message, let me know. I'm always happy to chat about it. I'll give you my experiences. I'll give you kind of all of the straightforward information that you need to know if you're considering this and kind of help you figure out a good plan of action for you. But feel free to reach out with questions you may have. Comment down below this video. Of course, make sure you're following my profile for more health and fitness tips. And before I let you go, I want to remind everyone about our holiday raffle. So we are doing a free giveaway. There's only a few days left to enter because we are choosing a winner this Saturday live, December 16th, for all of our prizes. The deadline to enter the raffle is 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday, December 15th. The link to enter is in my bio. All you have to do, visit that link. There's a brief questionnaire so we know how to contact you if you win. That will enter you into our raffle. We're giving away some really great health-related prizes to help you achieve your fitness goals in 2024. The first is a resistance band home workout set. It's the same set I use. It's the same set many of our clients use when we need to work out at home, whether that's our only opportunity to work out, whether that's our preferred method of working out. It's going to come with different bands that are adjustable up to 150 pounds of resistance, so it can challenge you in whatever way you need to be challenged. It's got a door anchor, so you can anchor it at different points on your doors at home. That way, you have maximum variability in the exercises that you can actually do. So that's one of our prizes, that resistance band home workout kit. Our second prize is something we're calling a kitchen toolkit. This is actually going to have 3 separate things included in the toolkit. The first is a set of measuring cups and spoons, so you're better able to track your portions when you're eating at home. Related to that, the second piece is a food scale, a battery-operated food scale that again is going to allow you to accurately measure your portions. And the third piece of that is going to be a protein shaker bottle so that you can make sure you're hitting your protein goals. It can hold smoothies, it can hold protein shakes, everything you need. It's good for on-the-go meals so that you can make sure that you're staying within your nutrition goals. So that's our kitchen toolkit. But our grand prize is going to be free enrollment in our 12-week online transformation program. So this is a one-on-one personalized coaching experience where we are going to help you establish goals, design your custom program, and support you every step of the way to guarantee that you get results within those 12 weeks. This is a $750 value that the one lucky winner for our grand prize is going to get completely free. All you have to do is click the link in my bio, fill out the brief questionnaire, and you'll be entered to win. It's open to U.S. residents 18 years or older. That's the only criteria. Now, one other thing you can do once you've entered, if you want to increase your chance of winning that grand prize, refer your friends and family to enter that raffle. Here's why. If anyone that you refer that fills out that form and selects your name in the referral box, if any of those people that you refer win the 12-week grand prize program, we will also give you access to the 12 weeks as well. So your friend will win, and you'll also win 12 weeks of coaching so you guys can go through the program together. So the more people you refer to enter the raffle, the more chances you have to win that grand prize. So definitely, there's only a few days left. Don't wait. Click that link in my bio. Fill out the brief questionnaire. It takes 90 seconds, and then you'll be entered to win. We're going to choose the winner live on Saturday, December 16th. So make sure you're paying attention for that. Of course, we'll contact all of the winners afterwards. So if you don't happen to be around, no issue. If you have questions on that, also feel free to shoot me a DM. But I hope everyone will enter. It's a fantastic chance to win some really great health prizes and make sure you hit your health goals in 2024. But otherwise, I did a terrible job, by the way, of actually making my breakfast. I got so far as to open the top of the yogurt cup. Haven't done anything else. Had too much fun talking to you guys. But have a great day, and I'll talk to you guys soon.